What's going on, Eagles Nation? It's your boy, LA, aka Showtime 804. Welcoming y'all back to my channel, Bird Gang Mafia. I've been a bit under the weather the week, so that's why I'm coming to you late with this video here. Last thing we going through was our first victory over the San Francisco 49ers. That was a tough game. We saw some early mistakes by the offense. Couple of plays that we wish we could have had back. You know, one turnover from Carson Wentz on a tip play that led into an interception. But other than that, given the circumstances, we fared okay in that game. I did like I saw some effort from Travis Fulgham. I did like to see a deep pass that was actually connected for a touchdown. It seems like it's been so long since we had a play, you know, over 40 yards in the air, set aside from the Deshaun Jackson touchdown catches in week 1 of last season. So it's good to see some positives from that. I like the fact that Jim Schwartz was aggressive with his defense. It wasn't just pressure from the front four. That's what we've been asking of him pretty much since his arrival here in Philadelphia. You know, just mix it up. Don't let inexperienced quarterbacks sit back and pick you apart. Now, there were some flaws within this game because we almost squandered away a late lead. Once the 49ers took Nick Mullins out the game, C.J. Beathard came in, and he came out lights out, darts up and down the field, doing what he wanted to do, because at that point, Jim Schwartz kind of got lax on the pressure. He played not to lose the game, when ultimately it almost resulted in us losing the game. We just let him get way too comfortable and collect himself. And he was playing with house money. He had nothing to lose. C.J. Beathard, there were no expectations for him to come in and actually save the game. So, you know, you don't want to give any kind of player, especially a young player, inexperienced player, any boost to their confidence, especially when they've had some demoralizing turnovers that led up until that point. Nathan Gary and T.J. Edwards. I don't know what else I can say that the fan base hasn't agreed with me already. Nathan Gary, I'm so sorry. You may mean well. You may be a good football player, but you cannot be a football player for this Philadelphia Eagles team. It is just time and time again, he just looks so lost in coverage. And again, mind you, he is a converted safety. So how do you lack coverage skills as a player who was once in a defensive backfield? It is beyond me. I don't have any words for it. And in today's game with the athletic tight ends, somebody with Nate Gary's inabilities to pick up coverage shouldn't be on your field. He is a defensive liability. He has to go. And then also looking back on that final play, Big Play Slay actually showed his worth in goal for us. If you guys remember that Hail Mary pass, that one to the 49ers, you see about 4 Eagles defenders, and the only one who was making a play on the football is Darius Slay. The other 3 Eagles are sitting back watching George Kittle put a hand on the football to make a play at the end of the game. And if it wasn't for Slay's awareness to actually knock the ball out of the air, the 49ers would have won this game, and we would have been a very, very disgruntled fan base. So I'm not sure what they're doing in practice. You know, some teams actually practice a Hail Mary drill, so you kind of know what to do in that instance where you're just not looking at the football while someone else catches it. And that's here nor there. So this week we got the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. That's going to be a rather tough game. It is a winnable game, but we just have to come in with the right mindset going into this week. Now, they are probably going to be one of the tougher defenses that we have faced. The 49ers, I say, were a good defense, but they were without some key starters. But they're still, their philosophy and their game plan remains the same. With the Steelers, they actually have more of a secondary. So this again is going to be a challenge. We need our younger receivers to step up. Now, again, I know that's a lot asking of them to take on such a big responsibility. But the game plan that we need to do needs to be very, very simplistic. I don't expect us to, get a lot of home run plays this week. We need to have a similar game plan as we did in the second Dallas game last year where we won 17-9. It's going to be a low scoring affair. I think the weather conditions are not going to bode well for a passing attack. So quick screens, no wide receiver screens. No, Doug, no wide receiver screens. But, do something. Screens to Boston Scott, screens to Miles Sanders, something along that line. No more wide receiver screens, not or tight end screens. None of that. Nothing to your slower receivers. Get the ball to your playmakers in space. The guys who have the speed, get them the ball. I don't want to see no Corey Clement, especially not in a 4-minute offense. And that just bothers me even more. And I hate to go backtrack. The Doug Peterson came out and said that Corey Clement is his 4-minute offense running back. That is not something that you want to hang your hat on. And I'm afraid that the relationship that some of these coaches and the front office have with these players are holding our team back because they don't want to admit that it's time to move on from a situation. Like we see Jordan Mailata, he played a great game under the circumstances. This was the first time that he really saw an extended time on the field. So to only have just that one false start, yeah, it was a drive killer. But other than that, he held his own. Now, mind you, there was no Bosa and D Ford didn't play. So the level of competition across from him wasn't spectacular, but again, it's the same scheme, and he was confused by some of those stunts and twists that defensive line was providing him. Let's see what else we got, and I don't want to see Jason Peters come back. It's time to call it what it is. He served his time well. We need to remember him of the good games that he provided with us and not what we're seeing right now in this field that we can't. That's just going backwards. And then also we've seen recent success from our defensive line with the rotation that we have in now. We've had 17 sacks in 4 games, 17 or 19 sacks in the last 4 games, which is a high number, and we're on pace to be somewhere in the 60 range. Now, mind you, we've done this without Vinny Curry being on the field. And I'm afraid what they're going to do is once he has been taken off IR like he was this week, they're going to force him back into the rotation. And unless he's going to give you some depth at defensive tackle, which he can kick inside, I would not risk him coming back on the outside. It's not worth it. He has a lower move set, a smaller move set, and a pass rushing skill that's less than Brandon Graham. So it's essentially Vinny Curry is your worst pass rusher. Now you're going to force feed him into the rotation and into the lineup that's going to take away snaps from someone else. We saw Derek Barnett kind of, take a step forward against a former All-Pro tackle with Trent Williams. So we don't want to hinder that by, trying to plug in Vinny Curry. Jernard Avery had a stellar performance with his quarterback pressures. In 16 snaps, 5 QB hits, 1 led into into an interception on Nick Mullins' behalf. So just think about the production that you're going to get from Jernard Avery if you give him more snaps and not take those snaps away from him by trying to force feed in Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry isn't somebody who's just going to show up on tape and, wreak havoc all game long. No, we don't need that. Like I said, it's time to cut some of these dead ends. Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, a lot of those guys to death for what they have done in an Eagle uniform. But again, now I think they're holding on to these injuries longer than they need to. Because a lot of them just come out, they're practicing hard during the week, and then come Friday, they're just like so hurt. They can't move. They can't do this and that. And I'm not going to say, whether they're feeling the injury to a certain degree because that's their bodies. That's how they take care of it. But it's just what the team said that they were going to do was to, get some younger receivers to grow with Carson, and get away from some of those veteran guys. But they're doing the exact opposite. So you're trying to hold on to them. Now, if you have to let them go, trade them. Trade them. You can just get minimum value for, but trade them in the AFC somewhere that they can't hurt us. Don't cut them so they can go join the NFC team. We don't need that. Send them far away as possible, so that way it doesn't come back to burn you. So fast forward to now Pittsburgh. This is, like I said, it's going to be a game. Slade needs to cover Juju, and everybody else, you need to just hold your own. And some way, somehow, I don't wish injury on anybody, but if Nathan Garrett takes, a bad step off the team jet, off the bus, something, turns his ankle, I'm not going to be upset at it. But keep it simple, and I'm going to come up with another video. I know it's going to be 2 quick videos back to back, but I'm just going to give you a take on the preview of Week 5 versus the Steelers. And again, fly, Eagles, fly, Bird Gang Mafia, I'm out.